I'm One Moon Knight. You may know me, you may not. It's been a while since I've actually talked on, well, not even on camera, just on film in general. Might be a little rusty, might not. Anyways, we're here with my Skyrim mod load order for 2024. Right now it's the month of May, and I'll just start us off. This is meant to be a more immersive load order, but I've got a few personal touches that people who might like action-packed combat or anime-styled games would enjoy. For the most part, it's completely immersive. A few companion mods thrown in there that I like. Armor and weapons from Berserk. Mainly just guts as I was doing a playthrough to test the load order. Like I said, just a few personal choices for myself. To those of you who want a complete immersive playthrough, just pick and choose the mods you want out of the list. Most of them work without each other, except for a key few. And I'll start us off with jobs. There's nothing else to this mod. It's quite literally what it says it is. The features, however, are vast, despite its name being so simple, and despite its size being so small. There's leatherworking, mining, blacksmithing jobs, smelting, cooking, fishing. It has a huge number of jobs for the size. It's an older mod, so a lot of you might already know about it. Speaking of one that people might know a lot about, Campfire. I'm pretty sure it's complete overhaul. Can't see the rest of the name. That's one thing I hate about Bethesda right now. But this adds in a complete overhaul for the, well, not just camping, but a perk system that comes with it. It'll definitely... I prefer this over survivals camping any day of the week. I prefer a lot of the mods over what Bethesda comes out with, but there are a few that they have that are really good. But you'll get to make tents of various sizes, rough beddings, all sorts of survival tools. The more you make campfires, you'll eventually get perks, and you can actually use the campfire to make the skill tree appear. It's really cool. I wish I had a clip I could throw up, but I'm unfortunately live right now. The next one, even though I can't see the full name, I've used it so much, is Simple Workaround Framework. This is going to be for mods like Shield on Back, or... well, I think just a lot of mods that are coming out now. It's like a... I suppose it's like a universal add-on, you could say. Like an extra installment. A lot like XP32 Maximum Skeleton. That's what I was thinking of. How most mods kind of required as a base mod. This next one is Fury, Animal Taming of Skyrim. I think it's a really fun one. You can tame just about any actually no, pretty much any animal. Well, 34 different animal species, I see it right there. So if you ever wanted a saber cat or a bear for a pet, maybe you're doing a wood elf playthrough, or a druid of some kind, and you wanted a more ferocious pet than a Nyx hound or a bone wolf, I can't say I'd blame you. Or maybe you wanted a mount to ride on into battle that wasn't a damn horse. Well, this is probably the mod for you. Like I said, Fury, Animal Taming of Skyrim, and if it's not Skyrim, then it's probably Animal Taming of Tamriel. Ugh, bit of a tongue twister. This big son of a bitch right here, but a must-have for anyone using mods, Unofficial Skyrim Special Edition Patch, or USSEP. I'm using the Special Edition version, mainly because Anniversary Edition breaks mods for a lot of console players. I don't know if they've fixed that yet, but for a lot of us, it broke our shit. So, continuing on from that mod, as I don't really have to say too much, and for those of you who don't know about it, it's mainly bug fixes, texture and mesh fixes as well. No more orange boxes appearing in your ocean or certain places. No more no more stupid glitches from 2011. That's the best way to put it. The next mod, and this is the one I prefer over Bethesda's survival mode, is I need food, water, and sleep. It pretty much does what it says, but it has a few other options. I think you can even bathe because of this mod. I'm pretty sure if you get the mod Dirt and Blood, it goes with it as well. There are actually a few mods that go to this one, but I just have the I need for now, as I didn't want to get too far into it. I want to keep things immersive, but also allow people to, you know, enjoy and play the game, and not have to focus so much on the survival needs, but it still be there as a constant reminder. And what I need does is it provides a hunger, thirst, and fatigue system that will degrade your stats over time. It does not take away from the XP, but it will decrease the number. Does not affect your perks, but it will affect your gameplay. It's actually a really cool system. Now, the easy mode for that is becoming a vampire, especially if you have the better vampires mod. We'll probably get down to that at some point. But I Need is a really good mod for survival and anyone looking for a more immersive playthrough. Goes really good with Campfire. Okay, next one up is Magical College of Winterhold. This is an overhaul of the Mage's College, makes it look a lot nicer. Like what you would expect a place like this to look like, even after the Great Collapse. In my opinion, the normal college you walk into is a little lackluster. This spices things up a bit even in the courtyard. The Hall of Elements is mostly the same but has some nice changes. The Archmage's quarters is actually really fucking clean in there. They did an amazing job with that. And the Arcanum actually looks like a magic library. You even have alchemy tables and all sorts of shit in there. Personal favorite mod of mine. I've used it for years, and the next one coming up is XP32 Maximum Skeleton, or as you can see on the picture, XPMSSE Fixed Scripts. Make sure you look for that picture, because there's an older version. Don't know if it's still actually up on Xbox. And what this is just going to do is be a base skeleton for your character so they can use animation mods and so things run smoother. It also just straightens up your character a bit. Well, you can actually read right here what it does. Realistic ragdolls and force. For one. Let's see here. Indeed. The horny community of Skyrim strikes again. Ignoring that up there. Let's keep going. Either way, it's a needed framework for just about any animation mod. Goofy ass is what that shit is, though. Alright. The cheat room. And I don't even use it for what you think. It can be used to teleport out of situations where you're stuck instead of having to reload a save, and then you can just fast travel to any city from the map in the middle of the room. That's one of my favorite parts. It gives you a small player home where you can just teleport away to that has all the crafting benches you need instead of having to walk around everywhere. Because in vanilla Skyrim, you're either taking over a spot for a little bit to use its alchemy lab or enchanting table, or you're going to Whiterun to Farengar to listen to him nag your ear off while you use his enchanting table. It's not until you get a house of your own like Lakeview Manor that you really get a place of peace and quiet. So I use Cheat Room for a multitude of reasons. And if I'm feeling bored as fuck, yeah, you can use it for cheating. I mean, hell, it's in the name. The main 3 rings I go for from there are no fall damage, no carry weight, and water breathing. Because fuck Argonians and their stupid passive skill. Anyone gets that reference, you're you're definitely an old head for Elder Scrolls. Let's see here. Inigo. This is what I mean by personal choices, but he's a personal choice I definitely could not play the game without. If you find the vanilla companions boring, and I've got mods for those too, we'll get to that eventually. But if you find them boring, lackluster, and just need a touch of life in general, Inigo is a perfect replacement. Mind you, he is a big motherfucker when it comes to storage space, 320 megabytes. But if you're playing an Anniversary Edition, I hear you guys have more storage than us, so probably won't be a big problem for you guys. However, I've got a lot of big mods, and I've managed to get it to where things are balanced out. Hopefully it stays that way. So Inigo is a personal favorite because he has a lot of banter. He talks to you about the skills you've progressed in. And he gives like actual descriptions on how you're doing in terms of, well, your skill progression. It's really interesting to hear him talk about stories, and the mod author was really doing a great job with this character. Then there's the fact that he's got his own little story to do too, where you fight off against this big bad. I'm not gonna say their name or try and spoil anything for those who haven't played the Inigo oh my god, the mod story and campaign, because it's kind of long. It is so fun. I can't get enough of this character. He is too good. And he, like the other mods I have, they interact with each other. These modded companions will be talking to each other and to you. It makes for a very lively group. Definitely a fun time when walking around the boring roads of Skyrim. Well, I say boring, but next thing you know, you get jumped by a cave troll and a dragon. Ah, here it is. Conquest of Skyrim. A mod I really can't play this game without. Mind you, I haven't tested it, but you might be able to still do the Civil War questline while doing this. If you make your own faction and just capture bandit holds and mines, basically anywhere that isn't owned by the Empire Stormcloaks, there might be a chance that you can do one side or the other's story, and then when they've conquered everything, you can just turn around with your faction and be like, well, now I'm conquering everything. Haha, this entire time I just joined one of you to weaken the other side. But anyways, what this mod does is it adds in a complete new system. You get this book in your inventory, teleports you to a room with a multitude of banners. You pick whatever banner you want, and from there on you need to go about finding yourself a way to make money, whether it be from a... I always go with Embershard Mine at Riverwood. Really easy way to make money. And you can make money for it by adventuring and talking to your steward. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. There's an entire government system behind this mod. It's really interesting, the laws you can make. This is basically like a more in-depth version of becoming the High King of Skyrim, except you're actually leading armies into battle, conquering forts, roads, cities. It's really fun. I actually have a playthrough called Skyrim is for the Boys. That was my entire run of the mod, going through the Hold of Whiterun. If I ever pick back up on it, we'll be going into Markarth. That's where we'll be starting, the next invasion. But it's very fun getting to manage all of it. It's definitely a mod I can't play without. I wanted this mod to come to Xbox for years, and when it finally did, my jaw practically hit the ground. I swear I would have gained Toon Force that day if it was the full fucking mod, but no, it's gotten better over time too. The voice acting is really cool. They started using a better version of Chat GPT, I'm pretty sure. or they're using a whole new... I think they are using a whole new program. I remember some time ago I'd seen it, but either way, this lets you conquer all of Skyrim and even further out into Morrowind, I'm pretty sure. Well, what's left of it at least. Oh, here we go. Serana dialogue add-on. As big as it is, it's a must-have, simply because after Serana's questline, she's bare-boned. Nothing to really talk about except treat these arrows with your blood. It's kind of sad what the character becomes at the end of her story. This, however, goes above and beyond, and the chick who voice acted her did a really good job. And you can kind of see it over here, 8,000 fully voiced lines. And there it is. Christ, I've barely been able to get into the mod yet myself because I've got so much shit going on in my game most of the time that I just haven't been doing the quest lines too much. And you know, that is one thing that you gotta worry about with this game. Sometimes you put in too much and then you're just like, well, I'm swamped. I need a break. That's kind of what kept me away for a long time and from doing this video. But no, this character will accompany you through that quest line and after. And it'll actually be like you're, you know, traveling with somebody real. And I'm pretty sure that she interacts with the other modded companions too. I'll have to test that one a bit more. But I swear I'd seen her and Kaiden talking at one point. Speaking of, wow, that's uncanny timing. Speaking of Kaiden, this is the latest version from what I remember, 2.1.1. Kaiden is a, well, he's a mercenary that got caught by some Thalmor because of his sword. It's modeled after the Blade sword, and to those of you who played Skyrim, you know why that's important. To those of you who don't, the Thalmor hunted the blades down almost to the point of extinction. Anyone carrying that Akaviri blade is a public enemy to them. And it was a gift from the person who had raised him. Apparently it was his mother's sword. Other than that, not too much is known about his past. But you get to experience a really stellar story. Like, I'm trying to find the right wording to put it, but it's like watching a movie unfold or a Sherlock Holmes investigation right before your eyes, doing this companion story. Because you go on a bit of an investigation to dig up his past and figure out what race he is. And by the end of it, you'll be surprised. He's got a lot of quotes, and just like this next one coming up, will be quite a chatterbox and talk your ear off. Now, speaking of that, Lucian, a fully voiced follower, is probably, the way I see it, Inigo, Kaiden, and Lucian are all the best boys of Skyrim. Can hate on me all you want to, but these guys are the top 3 companions, no competition. Serana is always going to be the poster girl of Skyrim, I can say that without a doubt. Everyone loves Serana to death. But Lucian's story is very interesting, as he also adds in a whole new system to the game, of being a master and having an apprentice. You get to train this guy up from scratch, and help him with each of his skills, and even give him new spells to learn via tome. The spell tomes that you pick up that you've already read will finally have a use because you can now give them to Lucian. He enjoys Dwemer culture. His parents were Imperials. And he's kind of a pushover at the start. Not gonna lie, but he Well, I suppose you could say that you actually help him find his confidence. And you'll see that as you fight more and more creatures, you know, his AI is a bit more aware, and the person who coded him had it set up for each time you meet a dragon. The first time he'll be scared, but by the 5th time, he'll be ready. And you'll notice that as you go. Now, he can die, and this is another reason I keep the cheat room, so I can make NPCs essential. Because, having to watch an NPC die and keep reloading a save because of it is pain. So that's just one more reason I keep the cheat room. Here we go. Now, I'm probably gonna butcher this, but Zavbio's vanilla... Vanilla and... Oh yeah, Vanilla and Creation Club, retexture. So this is for all armor, like specifically, well, not just specifically armor, I guess, armor and weapons, although you could hardly tell with some of them. I think it's just specific weapons, but either way, everything got a retexture. It looks really pretty. I mean, you can just tell by the ebony armor right there on the the cover picture. This is the smallest version of this mod that I could find, by the way. There are separate ones, like just individual armors, and obviously they're going to be smaller. But an all-together pack, this was the smallest I could find, and it still looks fucking beautiful. I definitely prefer this mod over some others, and, you know, it's mainly just for armors. I guess they're starting to do weapons too. You can barely tell with the weapons though, they're just a little darker. So I actually got a combo mod for it, because they look too much like vanilla. But this is probably a fan favorite of mine. And it also touches on the Creation Club content too. With the Creation Club content, you can really tell. But with the vanilla weapons, not so much. The armors, however, they almost look realistic. Like, that's the best way to put it. Okay, I was wondering when I'd run into this. GDB's Elden Beast Edition. What this does is add in a multitude of animations, from combat to interacting, casually sitting, to you're filling a bottle from a fucking mead keg. You'll be picking up firewood by accident, running into all sorts of shit. Luckily, they give you an option to set what animations on and off you want. There's even a modesty option for when your character has no clothes on, they immediately go to cover their junk, so take that as you will. You'll see NPCs around Skyrim who don't have outfits walking around like that. But there are all sorts of animations, and even for modded weapons that wouldn't technically be in the game. Scythe, quarterstaff, twin blades, you name it. It overhauls all your movement, from swinging weapons to drawing bows to throwing and spell casting. It even has the ultimate dodge mod with it. In reality, this is a pack of mods that all work together. It's very fun. Everything you do will now have an animation behind it. Most immersive mod you could get. And I've looked for multiple mods like this that have a more toned down combat. The only thing this gets cartoony on is the unarmed combat, but if you're a vampire, it makes more sense when you start Superman jumping into the air. And if you learn how to combo, you'll know what I mean if you ever use this mod. Or you might be able to go back through one of my old videos and check it out. I've had multiple fights where I do it. It's a very cool attack animation, but then again, a lot of the animations in this are. As just recently, they've started using similar animations to For Honor. So, to all you For Honor players who've been playing Skyrim, now's your chance to really enjoy something new and fresh. If you are a big-time Elder Scrolls fan, you can now make the best of both worlds and experience real combat, and there's going to be more mods down the way that really spice up this mod. So let's get to it. Here we go. When I had mentioned vanilla companions, I should have also talked about NPCs as well, because relationship dialogue overhaul. This is probably one of my favorite quests, and I've had it since, I think, 2018? Maybe longer. But, anyways, this is going to give your companions a lot more to say, and certain NPCs around the world in general a bit more of a backstory. It reuses vanilla lines and uses other vanilla lines that weren't actually put into the game. So you'll actually hear the same voice actor for a character and you won't notice too much of a difference. This is a really good mod, and you know what you do kind of... Oh yeah, here we go. 5,000 lines of completely voiced dialogue for NPCs from more than 50 voice types, focusing mainly on friends, followers, spouses, and rivals. All dialogue is voiced using the original voices from the game, achieved through re-adding existing dialogue in new and suitable places, as well as editing together multiple lines to form a brand new dialogue. So I think that pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Thanks, mod description. But this is definitely a must-have for people looking for that immersive playthrough or just wanting to talk to the NPCs more in Skyrim because, well, we all get bored just running around killing every troll and bandit or dragon that comes our way. Here we go. I normally don't focus too much on the hairs, but I got so sick and tired of the vanilla hairstyles. Apache Sky Hair. This is the male plus. 106 megabytes, but the hairstyles are definitely worth it. I had found a shit ton. Look, each race, even ignore the fact that this is for males, but that says females. I think this is also for females as well. So male plus female, I'm guessing. Let's see here. I want to see the... Oh, here we go. They've got a shit ton of mods. But I want to see the main line. Oh well. Each hairstyle is very well worked on. Actually sticks to your head, and unlike most hair mods where there's that bit of a gap between your skull and the actual hair that's supposed to be on it, I actually have come to really enjoy this mod, and I've still got plenty of space left over. Like I said, if you don't want to add in this mod, there's more to come. There's actually another one that covers eyes, skin, and hair in my load orders, so we'll get to that eventually. But, perfect way to put it. More to say. So this is version 9.0.2, and this is going to mainly focus NPCs, less companions. So this gives the NPCs of all of Skyrim way fucking more dialogue options. Like a long list, you'll be stuck there for at least 10-15 minutes talking to one of these guys, if you're not skipping through the dialogue options. But this will definitely help you feel more immersed into the game, and like the NPCs are real people. You know, almost alive and going about their day. Relationship dialogue overhaul also helps with that, tweaking the AI, and there's going to be more AI tweaking mods to come. So let's get on to it. Here we go. Cloaks of Skyrim, adding capes all over the game space. Guards will have cloaks, for an instance. Bandits will be carrying them. Normal people, Imperial troopers, sometimes storm cloaks, and they all have faction-based cloaks as well. Every hold has its own cloak. There's a multitude of colors too. There's also boss-based capes that you can find, like with the dragon priests. You can finally get their capes and they'll have bonuses, and their cloaks scattered across the world space in, for example, places like Valtheim Towers, where you'll find special named cloaks that have abilities and just natural bonuses. And you can still put enchantments on them too. Vedosabram regions. A grass overhaul, I'm pretty sure is what that says. So this covers all the regions of Skyrim, from snowy, plains, and forested areas. It's a very pretty grass mod. Depending on your system, it might look a little funny from very far away. So in terms of far away shots, definitely not the best thing to look at. When you get not even very close, but just close enough that it can render in properly, it looks beautiful. I recommend a extra tree mod, like just something that isn't Forests of Skyrim. Well, then again, you could probably use Forests of Skyrim if you don't intend on using the house mod that'll come up eventually. The house mod that the Forests of Skyrim conflict with is Riverwood Cabin. Personal favorite of mine. We'll get to that eventually though. Skyland Nordic Ruins. What this is just going to do is give a very nice texture overhaul to all the Nordic ruins. Make them look like the works of art they were supposed to be. Every door, nook and cranny, crevice, every etching, it's going to look at least 2K. And this is probably a mod I've been using since I could mod on Skyrim. I love it to death, and it's not even that big for all that it does. There's a huge series called Skyland, and it covers all of the game. Definitely an older one. They've got really big ass mods, so I don't use too many, but they've also got some really nice small ones. Here we go. Simple Character Retexture Bundle. This is probably one of my favorites. It carries mods like Vertuvia, Salt and Wind, and the Realistic Eyes. This is a must-have for your character creation and for the characters of Skyrim to get a bit of a makeover. It is kind of small, all things considered, because most mods like this are usually like 200, 500 megabytes. Some even 1,000 megabytes, and it's just like, what the fuck? I would like space for other mods, please. But either way, this does all of that and then some for just 80 megabytes, being right under 100. I couldn't play the game without this mod, I'm gonna be honest. It does too much for the small amount of space it costs. Here we go. My favorite city mod, Whiterun the City of Trees. This is that city mod you see in all the like 4K ultra realistic playthroughs. Most people use this damn mod because it is too fucking pretty. Like, the overhaul it does to the inside and outside of Whiterun is crazy. Dragon's Reach has never looked prettier. It looks like a real medieval city. I spend too much time there in Whiterun because of this mod. That's the best way to put it. A must-have if you want to see what Whiterun should have looked like instead of the place we got. Because Whiterun would have already been bigger than what it is, but this just really puts it into perspective. Fucking love this mod to death. Here we go, another companion mod. Song of the Green Ori, or Ari. I have trouble pronouncing her name as I can't really tell, but she's a small mod compared to Lucian, Kaiden, and Inigo. Yet she comes with a lot. She has a story to follow through, and I'm not really going to spoil that for you guys, but if you decide to download this Wood Elf Archer, she will definitely brighten up your day through the game. She is, I'd say, just as funny as Sophia, for those of you who might know who that companion is, if not more. And she makes your moments in Skyrim a lot less awkward. More comedic, if anything. She'll also talk with Kaiden, Lucian, and Inigo. Another reason why I like having her around. Here we go. Mystic Aura Effects. This overhauls all the magic in Skyrim. Not the way you use it or cast it, but the way it looks and how it actually affects the world around it. This is a big mod for immersion and just, in a simple man's terms, ooh, pretty colors. That's the best way to put it. You will love this mod to death because while it takes up a good chunk of space, it does its job, and it really does an amazing job at expanding the magic of Skyrim. It's actually so fucking fun. This overhauled pretty much everything, and not just magic either. But it works on a lot. And you can kind of see the list right here as I go down it. Next up is Bellyache's HD. I'm pretty sure this is creature and animal overhaul, but it pretty much does what you think it does, retexturing all the wildlife of Skyrim to look a bit more realistic. I don't think I could use any other mod because they tend to be huge or just not cover everything. With this mod, however, it covers bears, birds, chorus, chickens, dogs, dragons, including the DLCs, dragonflies, elks, foxes, frostbite spiders, goats, cows, horkers, horses, mammoths, mudcrabs, rabbits, sabercats, skeevers, werewolves, and normal wolves. All for 56 megabytes. I really don't see any other mod doing it that good. And this is one that I think people use on PC anyhow. Or at least the models for the deer get used. Or that moose on the fucking screen. Doesn't even look like a deer with those big ass antlers. But enough about that. We'll go on to the next mod. Oh, this is actually a personal favorite of mine. Pilgrim 1K edition for space reasons. Instead of getting one of the more costly mods, this does the exact same thing without having so much texturing done to the altars. So this overhauls the religions of Skyrim, and now you can even worship Daedra and actually feel like you're taking part in a religion and not just getting a bonus from a shrine or a necklace. This is a personal favorite for a lot of people, not even just myself. You'll be able to sit down at shrines and pray. You can... Well, I'm pretty sure the more you worship at certain shrines, you'll eventually get bonuses from the patron god or goddess. There are now new shrines all over Skyrim, not just of the existing gods that we get in the base game, but gods that you've never heard of from other cultures and just extra Daedra. Trying to think of some. Jigalag, for example. And then there are gods that you've probably never heard of, like from the Hammerfell cultures. Big Papa, it's like a genie's lamp in terms of how the shrine looks, and you can find these shrines in all sorts of different places. But you'll be seeing a lot more shrines pop up now. Okay, this next one is Vakrinator with Mysticism. This overhauls the way magic is used, and sort of like how Summer Mist enchantments overhauled all of the enchantments of Skyrim, this mod overhauls all of the spells and their effects, making even base vanilla spells just a little bit stronger. Not because of some major stat number, but because it actually has an effect that matters in the world. Even when you're just casting flames, it'll come in handy when fighting a group of bandits or just about anybody. No one likes being set on fire, after all. This is a must-have mod for those of you going for a mage playthrough. And it also comes with a beautiful perk tree. Like, all of your magic perks are overhauled. Actually, in general, all of your perks are overhauled. The perk tree system that you get is so much nicer than vanilla Skyrim, and it's because it's Ordinator mixed with another perk mod. And it's done by somebody who put the packs together and didn't just go around mixing two mods in a load order. So you'll actually get the best of both worlds. Okay, next up is Kukatsuo Thane Weapons. This is to overhaul all the junk weapons you get when you become a Thane. Because nobody wants just a meager reward like that. You want something that actually represents your badge of office as a Thane of the city. You're a hero to that entire province. Or, well, not the province, but the hold. You'd think they'd give you something better than just some random old-ass enchanted weapon. I mean, hey, thanks for the free enchantment, but I don't want that. I'd rather go find it in a dungeon, you know? I'd rather actually be given something that I can use throughout my playthrough, and these weapons are definitely going to be usable throughout your entire playthrough. They're awesome. And some of them are really interesting. You know, you get to buy Cento from fucking Falkreath, for example. Ever wanted to be Whitebeard in Skyrim? Now you can. Okay, here we go. Apotheosis Dragon Priest Mass. This retextures all the Dragon Priest Mass and makes them look like works of art, and it overhauls their, well, their enchantments that were placed on them. I was going to say perks or effects, but no, that's not quite it. So the enchantments get a complete overhaul and basically already have 2 enchantments on them, but they're all special, like personal to the mask. Each having their own effect that's really badass, and personal passive effect that boosts your stats. I couldn't play without this mod. Like, whenever I don't have it in my load order, it feels like something's missing from my game. Because I like fighting the Dragon Priests when their AI isn't bugging the fuck out, and with mods it really helps. They become a threat. Like, they are a big pain in the ass with some of these mods. And, you know, just getting a reward after fighting them for so long feels really nice. Even nicer when that reward actually matters throughout the game. Okay, here we go. Like I said, we'd get to it eventually. Better Vampires version 8.7 for the Xbox One. This is, without a doubt, the best vampire mod you can get. Completely overhauling the trash system. Instead of the more you feed, the weaker you get. The more you feed, the more you progress through your vampire ranks and become stronger. For example, you start out as a fledgling, then you become a vampire, blooded vampire. Eventually you find yourself at Night Stalker or Master Vampire, and then by the time you're a Vampire Lord, you get an even bigger bonus from mods that will affect that. And this mod also does a little bit to affect the Vampire Lord in general. So, either way, you're getting some crazy power-ups. And oh yeah, you'll get natural power-ups even when you don't feed. For example, supernatural strength from being in a bloodlust state, like you're going crazy for blood. And at some point, if you don't feed, your vampire nature will be very much visible and people will hate your ass and attack you on sight. Oh, and if you keep it at a certain extent, undead creatures will note that you're a vampire and not attack you. So there is that. If you find the right balance of feeding and not feeding, you'll be friendly with normal people and friendly with undead creatures, making dungeons a walk. Like you literally just breeze through there and fight a few Draugr, next thing you know you're out. Either way, I love the Better Vampires mod, and speaking of mods, I love Skyrim Reputation. This one is the mysterious, the fixed, patched, and improved version. You'll see it on the cover photo. And what this does is it makes all of your choices and actions matter throughout the game, to the point that even when you do quests, it'll affect the viewpoint of people around you. So be on your best behavior, or don't. It depends on if you want to be famous or infamous. This is definitely a mod for anyone looking for an immersive playthrough. I'd give you a better description of it, but I kind of want you to experience it for yourself. See what I mean? Next up is Medieval Blended Roads, and well, what this does is it gives a much nicer texture to the roads than just dirt roads, an old favorite mod of mine, but the textures weren't that great at times. This, however, is a beautiful road mod, and even from far away still looks very pretty. So whether you're close or far, you're going to get to see quite a sight. Definitely a mod I would recommend. The next one is Real Armies Civil War Overhaul. What this does is add in new classes to both sides of the war. Champions, archers, crossbowmen. Trying to think of all the, you know what, here. Imperial Auxiliary, Imperial Archer, Imperial Veteran, Battle Mage, Centurion, Stormcloak Unblooded, Archer. Here we go, Stormcloak Companion, Stormcloak Berserker, Stormcloak Wizard, Stormcloak Herseer. Alright then. Either way, it adds in quite a number of new classes for both the Imperial and Stormcloaks, and it affects the way you fight against them pretty bigly. Like, it's a pretty big impact. Especially when you have mods like throwable weapons. They become such a pain in the ass. In my opinion, it just makes the Civil War a lot more enjoyable because you kind of breeze through it in the first place. It's really it's a bit more of a pick-me mod. If you do like it, you go for it. If you don't, then oh well. Next mod is Cloaks, Face Masks, and I think it's bandanas, because that was one of the newer things added to it. Bandanas, eye patches, and all sorts of shit. But this is just a smaller mod that gives you personal cloaks to choose from, along with the face masks. Obviously, they're cloth wraps that you put around your face. Nothing too special. There are a few masks that are kind of interesting, but a bit more low grade. I just stick to the cloth wraps around the face when I do use them. They look very cool with certain armor sets, and it's kind of the main reason I downloaded this, but the cloaks are very nice. A selection of linen, hide, and then the actual fur cloaks that you can make from bear pelts and all sorts of shit. Definitely helps out the fashion of the game for those of you looking for a cooler design for your character. Maybe you just wanted a cape in general. There's the Cloaks of Skyrim mod for it, but this one allows you to really give it a personal touch. And it's not that big. Plus you can add eye patches and all sorts of other shit to your character for maybe a background. Maybe your character's got an old past that's been drudged up again. Maybe you lost an eye during a battle. Maybe you're a pirate. Who knows? This one is Multiple Marriages of Skyrim. It's a interesting mod. And for those of you who played games like Fable 3, you might be already familiar to systems like this and miss it in games. It does what it says, so to each their own. That's the best way to put it. If you want the mod, you want it. If you don't, you don't. I have not really gotten too far with the mod myself, as I hardly get married in Skyrim. But I'm going to be testing it out more, and I'll let you guys know how it goes for me. Or you might just get to see me struggle on my playthroughs, who knows. Next up is Immersive Sounds of Skyrim, or Immersive Sounds Compendium, I think. Either way, this overhauls everything, from walking into your armor, to listening to nature around you, the rustles of trees and leaves and sticks, walking on the road, horses, carriages, water, you name it, this mod changes it, and you can even manage the sounds and what you want to hear more of. Say you want something to be louder than the other, you think the voices are too quiet, well, you can manage all that from your settings menu now because of this. Beautiful mod in my opinion. Okay, here we go. This is one of my personal choices. I enjoy an immersive playthrough as much as the next person, but I've done that so many times in my life that I just like spicing things up a bit. This will give you a list of powers to start off with, and it's your choice on what you use, in my opinion. You don't have to use all of the powers you're given. Just choose the ones that are good for your playthrough. For me, the reason I keep this mod is because of Pulley's butterflies over there. It's such a good damn mod. The butterfly power, for every butterfly you summon, it can absorb an amount of damage or magic damage, and when it breaks, it has the chance to heal you, or just absorb the damage and disappear. It only takes a little bit of magicka, and sometimes your magicka gets a boost if you're lucky. It's just a really nice power, and I have it for like all of my playthroughs. I can't not, and there's a few other ones in there that I really like too. And if you watch my Guts playthrough, you'll see what I mean by only using a couple of powers. And there are other mods that'll give you cool powers too down the way. We'll get to them eventually. But this is a must-have. I mean, look at all of that. Oh, you know what? There is one more. The Hydra Shot powers are insane. So it is a lock-on, and it says it right there, multiple lock-on elemental shot. What this does is it gives you a choice of the 3 elements in Skyrim, lightning, fire, frost. And it places a magic rune whenever you aim long enough at a specific target. When you fire your bow, it doesn't matter if the arrow hits or not, it's going to hit that target. Now, for those of you, you're probably thinking, well, that's overpowered. For those of you who've actually played this game, holy shit, I can shoot dragons out of the sky now. Those fucking bastards, they'll never escape my bow again. And that's the second reason why I keep this mod. But there's just so many different powers that it's too fun not to have around. You know, it makes it more enjoyable going through the hellish combat I've set up, because there are some mods further down that you guys are gonna hate me for. Next up is Skyland Towns and Villages. This is going to give like a 2, maybe 4K texture to everything in terms of the towns and villages of Skyrim. So without touching the cities, this is a beautiful mod, making the Nordic villages of Skyrim actually look like something worth visiting. Instead of nasty hay bales and straw sticking off of the roof, you see like an actual weathered out roof. You see beautiful wooden houses. The land around them, it's so it's serene. Like, that's the best way to put it. It's a very pretty view whenever you walk across any town or village in Skyrim, and you'll find yourself staying there just a little bit longer than normal. Here we go. Vampire Armor Expansion. This one just, for obvious reasons, you don't want to see vampires walking around in bandit gear, the same like 5 different sets of the same clothing every time. This gives them real armor. Their equipment is actually nice to look at, and you might even find yourself wanting a set. It's pretty decent mod considering its size, and the scope it actually touches on, adding 8 new armor meshes, all carefully crafted from existing vanilla assets. Equally divided between male and female characters, adding much needed diversity to your vampire characters and, well, your overall playthrough. Even if you're on the side of the Dawn Guard, you'll find that it makes hunting vampires a bit more entertaining. Here we go. Animated El Sopa Potions. This is a mod that you must download if you want to use the GDB's fucking Elden Beast overhaul. I couldn't think of it for a second. Either way, this mod adds in a Dark Souls feature of whenever you pop a potion, you drink it. Plain and simple. And not just potions, but, well, it also touches on alcohol, food and drink, any type of potion you drink including skooma. It'll be animated. Some of the meshes are a little like the animations don't exactly match up to the mouth right, but you almost don't even notice it if you're in the middle of combat. And speaking of which, in the middle of combat, when you're about to get hit in the head by a bandit, don't try drinking a potion. Jump and run if you're going to, that's my recommendation. Okay, next up is TES Legends loading screens. So, this is going to replace all the boring ass loading screens of your game with 4K pictures. Very well done fan art. New tips are added. Ugh. Crikey. But lore pieces are also added, and it just makes you want to stay in the loading screen a little bit longer. It makes the long Bethesda wait times bearable. Back in the day, this was a must-have for anybody because, you know, the new consoles weren't out back then. Fast loading times did not exist for console players. And even nowadays, I still find myself having to sit through long load screens, so this is just a fan favorite of mine. It'll also help you learn a bit more about the Elder Scrolls universe while just playing the game. I'd say it's a win-win. Here we go. Dragon Break. This 30 megabyte mod right here adds in a complete overhaul to the dragons of Skyrim, and not in terms of looks. Dragons will use the Thume. There are named dragons that are tougher than your average. There are all sorts of different mods from many different fucking... Oh wow, you can just see the list right there though. All sorts of different creators have been put together with their mods for this pack. And it is quite the insane experience. I definitely could not play Skyrim without this mod because the dragons of Skyrim actually feel like a threat from the get-go, and it's just something you cannot play without if you want to experience what Skyrim should have been. Here we go, Faction Pit Fighter, and this has been in my latest playthrough of the game. But this faction is all about gladiatorial combat and underground fighting. They'll even take you outside of the Skyrim world and into other provinces for battle. I think it's really interesting and it's a very entertaining experience. There is one minor problem with it though. No lip syncing for the characters, but you will hardly notice it over the amount of content you were given. That's like the only bad thing about it is somewhat poor microphone quality and no lip syncing for the character models. Other than that, you have hours upon hours of fun, a whole rank system and set of titles to go through, and with this little bonus mod right here, you can travel all around Skyrim into other provinces. All in all, I'd give this mod a 7 out of 10 because it was such a fun experience, and with the right combat mods like what I've shown you, it becomes a it becomes a real fucking battle no matter what level you are. It's so fun. Here we go. RS Children Optimized overhauls all the Play-Doh looks of the Children of Skyrim, giving their character models a touch of personality, you know, a flair, if you would. They all look like real people. They're not clones of each other anymore. In my opinion, it's one of the best mods Skyrim could have added. The kids look like actual kids, instead of just random video game little gremlins that we all wanted to slap. I mean, what? I wasn't about to say kill the kid. No, you were. Anywho, this mod, extremely fun. It's very interesting watching them all run around and have real personalities, and it makes for when you adopt the kids, it makes it feel a lot more personal, especially when you hear their backstories and why they're either in the orphanage or on the street where they're at. Makes you really feel bad for the character. And it just makes them more worth interacting with in general. All in all, I think it's a must-have mod because if you're going to be overhauling all of the NPCs of Skyrim, gotta overhaul the kids too. Don't want them looking like Play-Doh in your game. 2011 graphics have not done them any favors. That's all I'll say. At least the mod authors do them favors though. Here we go, Necrom, Master the Power. I think it's... I wish they had the fucking title in here, but... So... Master the Power of... I almost want to go looking it up, but anyways, this is about mastering Eldritch Power, and it's meant for a more Eldritch Sorcerer kind of playthrough if you were going down the same route as Marak. This is for any champion of Hermaeus Mora, but even more than that, it's for any HP Lovecraft fan, I'm gonna be honest. This is a perfect mod for somebody trying to be an Eldritch Mage. And it's just something more recent I've gotten into, but it has some very interesting changes, and you know, it'll make being champion Hermaeus Mora a bit more worth it. There are Apocrypha gates that you can summon. You get banished as a lesser power. There are unique items added to the world. It's a mod I haven't really gotten to touch too much into, but I've gotten some of the spells and they're very fun. You can kind of see some of them right here. Gives you a nice little list of spells to use and just other things to interact with, but in my opinion, Hermaeus Mora is pretty boring going through his normal powers and shit, and this just adds in a surplus of content to make him a much more enjoyable Daedric Prince. Instead of being the god that talked your ear off, he's the god that gave you a lecture while giving you a bunch of goodies. Sounds much more enjoyable to me. And here we go, the weapon mod I was talking about. Lean Wolf's better shaped vanilla weapons. This doesn't really retexture them so much as reshape the weapons. The textures can be changed still by other mods, and that's why my mods, Zav Bio and this one, don't conflict with each other, because it's only retexturing what's been changed. So you get the shape of these weapons and the textures of the Zab Bio weapon mod. Well, weapon and armor. I enjoy this one because they're not just better shaped, they're realistically shaped in my opinion. The weapons look awesome as fuck, for lack of better words. When you hold each weapon, it feels different and unique in its own way. And it doesn't look so bad like old Skyrim did. And I've been playing since 2011. As you get older through the years, the nostalgia starts to wear off and you start to really see the game for what it is, but it's still such an amazing game. I guess that's why I'm still playing it after all. Here we go. Lady Marak. This is a overhaul to Marak in general, and it's required for another mod, that's why we have it. But what this mod does, and what the other one will do as well, is turns Marak into a woman for a specific reason. The voice actress who participated with this mod made a new companion out of Marak. Instead of the normal playthrough where Marak gets killed off by Hermaeus Mora, you instead bend Will Shout Marak, and you turn against Hermaeus Mora in this big-ass boss fight. You go through like a series of waves of enemies of Apocrypha together with Hermaeus Mora's old champion in the form of Marak, and you battle against Hermaeus Mora. Towards the end of it, I think. That or you get blasted out of there because you fought off all of his fucking armies. I don't remember exactly how the boss fight goes, but instead of the boring boss fight you get, where you're dealing with ethereal bitch over and over, that's what I've kind of nicknamed Marak because it's what he does for most of the fight. Hide, snatch a dragon soul, hide, snatch a dragon soul. Not anymore. Instead, you fight a small fucking army in terms of waves. Not just one group of them all at once. No. You fight groups of them in waves, and it's so fun. Feels like a much more deserved boss fight than what we got. Okay, here we go. Elemental Golems is a mod that adds in, like it says, an Elemental Golem, not just as a summonable spell, but as a creature throughout the world. You can run into these big fucks, and they're terrifying. I remember one time an Ice Golem was pretending to be a goddamn tree, and it literally sprouted out from the ground not too far from us, and I just see it attacking whatever the fuck spooked it or pissed it off. It still had the tree on its back and it was walking around, and then it planted itself back into the ground afterwards. I was not having it, man. Ugh. These things will give you a small heart attack. They're ginormous and terrifying and definitely worth getting as a spell. In my opinion, it's just something that was missing from the game. A real boss-like creature that will come and fight you and fuck up your day. Sea of Spirits, adding in all sorts of aquatic creatures to the world of Skyrim, including whales. You can look for yourself if you want a mod like this. Definitely good if you're getting a mod like boats. Not too much I can say on the Sea of Spirits though, other than it adds in more aquatic life and will breathe a bit more into your ocean. So a quality world map. Basically, you'll see roads on the map, you'll see a lot. You'll be able to move around your map more in general. It definitely clears up the map compared to the vanilla map, looking as bad as it does. I don't know if it's just the lighting or the texture of the map itself, but you'll now have a more, I guess, clearer view of Skyrim should be the word I use. Either way, a quality world map being only 19 megabytes in size, but being like 4K in terms of quality is probably one of my favorites. It's no paper-styled map, but then again, I don't really like the paper-styled maps. I like to know what roads I'm walking on, and I actually do have a mod coming up that will give you compasses and paper maps and all sorts of shit, quest journals. Very fun mod. I don't get into it too much myself, though. I have collected all the equipment at least once and have tried it out. It's not bad. Disables the compass on your screen and makes you use actual stuff. So next up is Nordic Beds SE, or Special Edition. So this overhauls all the nasty looking beds with hay piles on them, and it turns them into a real comfortable bed. It's probably one of my favorite mods simply because of that reason. Skyland Mountains is another one in the Skyland series. All mountains are at least 2K textures, rocks, you name it. It overhauls everything, making your game prettier, and only for 19 megabytes. A must-have mod. Thume SE is a overhaul not only to the shouts in Skyrim, but mainly for you, the character. You will find more shouts and words of power all over Tamriel, hidden around in places. It'll become a lot more accessible and easy, but at the same time you'll want more souls, and you'll also get a power-up as you collect more souls. Here we go, adding in 40 plus new word walls in the form of graffiti around Skyrim and other places. There's all sorts that you're going to be working with, and it's just a very fun mod in general. Divergence is a mod known as Luxuriant 2. This is the 17 megabyte version. This is a overhaul to all your trees in Skyrim, giving them about a 2K texture. It's definitely performance based, but even then the trees you'll see are going to look so fucking pretty. Like, I have no better way to put it. It is a mod worth its space, and it goes above and beyond the 17 megabytes when most tree mods are usually like 60. I thought I got a real steal out of this one. And for those of you who just want your game to look a little bit pretty, and you know, not be over the top in terms of mod space, this is probably just for you. Next up is Luminescence, a lighting overhaul. A 16 megabyte mod that goes about completely changing the exterior and interior lightings of Skyrim. And not just Skyrim, but all the way out to the DLCs as well. You'll find that no matter where you go, it's going to either look like the most beautiful place in Tamriel or the scariest. I definitely enjoy this overhaul mod. It's without a doubt one of the best lighting mods I've seen, and it costs so little in terms of the fucking storage space. Mod I could not play without, if I'm gonna be honest. Enhanced blood textures. It's been around forever, but for those of you who don't know, this is probably one of the best mods, if not the best, for, well, exactly what it says. You want your game to be more bloody and gory, you want to see blood splatter on the screen, this is the mod for you. It'll even stain your armor and weapons. Next up is Better Shrouded Armor. This is an overhaul of the Dark Brotherhood armor. It makes it look like a real assassin's garb instead of a skin-tight suit. So without a doubt, this is a must-have. Natural Clouds. There are all sorts of cloud mods, but this one is my personal favorite. It'll make the skies light up in ways you've never seen. The clouds are so damn pretty, it looks realer than real life. I honestly wish I didn't have to say that, but this game makes me just want to take a portal right into Tamriel some days. Either way, 14 megabytes for practically 4K textures in terms of clouds. It's awesome. These are 2K textures though, and oh man, it's beautiful what you'll see in the sky with this mod. It's another mod that you really just have to experience for yourself. Here we go, Lady Marak. We already talked about this. This is the boss fight and overhaul, and where most of the voice acting comes from. Very cool character, very interesting mod. The Reliquary of Myth Artifact Overhaul is a 13 megabyte mod, touching up every magical artifact in the game. And it's basically like what Summer Mist Enchantments does, but on a whole other level. Everything is based off of its lore description, and it's just a very fun, immersive mod to have around. Here we go. This is another personal touch for me. The Dragon Slayer from Berserk has been a part of my most recent playthrough, a mod you can or cannot download if you want to. It's a do or don't situation, in all honesty. Very fun to have around though, especially with all these mods. If you wanted to play Skyrim as Guts, this is the mod for you. Ori and Inigo Banter Patch. This is so those two will talk with each other, and so there are no conflicting lines or mess-ups. A must-have mod if you're going to run the two together. Bandit Lines. This overhauls everything the bandits say, giving them more personality, making them feel more human. You know, because no one is born evil or born into banditry. They become the way they are due to something in their past. And this really expresses that. A must-have mod once again. New bard songs for streamers. This is a okay or not okay for you. Word of warning, not all these songs are, at least I don't think, well, they might be copyright free. You'll just have to see for yourself and find out. But I'm sure all of you get bored of the same 3 to 4 songs from the bards of Skyrim, so this is for everyone who's spent some time in a tavern. Hope you enjoy it. If not, I'm sure there's other ones. Bandoliers, bags, pouches, and more. This is a special mod for anyone who doesn't use carry weight cheats, but even if you do, this adds in a new level of fashion to the game that you just can't run without. You can use this on any armor set, clothing set. Doesn't matter if you're playing a mage, a mercenary, they've got things for everyone. Definitely a must-have. Like, if you want to look like you actually travel around and you carry a lot of shit on you, and you just want that immersive feel of, yeah, I don't have a pocket space in my inventory, or I don't shove up rocket launchers through the ass. This is definitely a must-have for anybody who gets tired of just popping things out of reality and back into it. Summer Mist enchantments, I've already talked about it a lot. This touches literally every enchantment in the game for one, and then adds in its own set of enchantments for another. Way too cool. From armors to weapons, it's got it all. Lockpicking interface overhaul, 10 megabyte mod. Revolutionizes the way the lockpicking looks. Like, it is beautiful. I have no other words for this mod other than a chef's kiss and a 10 out of 10. Because the vanilla lockpick looks, the lock and the lockpick in general looks so fucking ugly. This actually looks like a medieval lock that you would really see on somebody's door. And it's different per area you go to, Nordic, Dwemer, Elven, it's so fucking cool. The work that was actually put into this mod is insane for 10 megabytes. Ah, here we go. Another big immersion mod. Use those blankets. Every NPC who just lays on the bed without a blanket, no more. They use them now. Plain and simple. Revenge of the enemies. This is an overhaul to all the enemies in Skyrim. This is going to make them stronger, add in bosses, and just add in more enemy types in general. It is a fun mod to have, but it makes them such a pain in the ass. Like, dear fucking god, I wish I didn't. But at the same time, I love it. Call me a masochist, I guess. Immersive carriages. This is a... this mod right here is goated as fuck. Go to any town, go to any city, go to any fort, travel by boat, doesn't matter. This thing is there. It is the best way to travel when you're not using a fast travel system. Definitely one I like to keep around because of how small it is too, and because my other favorite carriage mod, it got blooped from the universe, completely gone, reduced to atoms. So next mod is Better Arvac with an armored look. He basically looks like the Horse of Death. Like, this guy looks fucking badass. He looks like he belongs to a Death Knight. Never seen an armor mod look so fucking cool for a horse, but this guy is... And I don't think it's just like an armor replacer either. I think they actually upped the health of him. Okay, here we go. Better Arvac edits Arvac's meshes and textures, improves his attributes, and grants him a few abilities to make him more unique. See the Better Arvac Nexus mods page for more details. So yeah, I was right about that. They do make him stronger and look better, so definitely a must-have if you like running the bare-bone horse. Because a lot of people like Arvac, being able to summon your horse and not have to wait for Shadowmere to resurrect after 3 days. Oh, way better. Next up is Alternate Start, Live Another Life, a must-have mod for anybody who hates the vanilla start or just doesn't want to do it over and over again. You want to touch a D&D to your game? This is the one. This is the mod for you. Alternate starts from being a patron at an inn, member of a guild, bandit in the wilds, hunter in the woods, shipwrecked off the coast, attacked and left for dead, or even someone's childhood best friend. It has a lot to work with. I love this mod to death, and you can even just choose to escape the cell that you start in. Instead of doing any of those, you have so much freedom of choice, or you could even do the vanilla start from it. Very fun alternative to creating your character, and it actually helps with doing some of these mods, and I might just make a new playthrough and demonstrate at the end of this video for all of you how to set up these mods in game and work with them. So I think I'll do that by the end of this load order. Civil War Lines expansion overhauls all the soldiers and what they have to say and think about the situation they're in. Very important mod if you're going to be doing anything towards the Civil War or just in general walking around Skyrim when you have to hear them all the time. Sensible Travel. This is the mod I was talking about that adds in the compass, quest journal, the map, and just completely overhauls how you walk around in Skyrim. The must-have mod for anyone looking for an immersive playthrough. Next up is Sensible Interface. This gives me my Dark Souls hotkeys, an overhaul to the menu and how I do things. The UI is pretty as hell. The only problem I've ever really had is it with my main problem is with certain mods. Whenever you're looking through what would be dialogue options or dialogue pop-ups, the text, it does not always appear, but that's with certain mods, so it could just be confliction of like the text prompt. Maybe the black box is broken with some mods when it comes to this mod, but everything vanilla works just fine. I haven't had a single problem. Really fun mod in my opinion. Next up is the antique orcish armor and weapons. But this is a little different from most, as it makes it look more like a traditional samurai armor. It's a standalone, I think, not a retexture. But if you want a more Japanese styled armor set to go for your character, maybe they're a Ronin, a samurai, a lost member of the Akaviri, like you could be the sole survivor of your race. This is probably the mod for you, or if you just like Eastern styled armors in general. This is probably the mod for you. 7 megabytes too. Most armor mods are fucking ridiculous. Constellation magic, basically star magic, adding in a whole new list of spells to tinker with and test out. I don't want to go into what these spells do. It's more of something you should find out for yourself, but they're very interesting. They're a hybrid of other spell types as well. So if you wanted something that's a little bit more creative than just your basic illusion, destruction, restoration spell, these are for you. They take a bit more setup, is what I'm trying to get across. And it's definitely for more of a master level mage than anybody. I don't think you'd see a normal battle mage using this type of magic, and if they do, oh man, you better be running the other way. Skooma dealers of Skyrim. Easiest way to get your fix. Makes more sense than just finding them all over the place randomly. You know, there's an actual source to get them from. They're drug runners and skooma bottles of all different types. Makes the skooma system in Skyrim really fun. They give you nice bonuses too. Vile Art of Necromancy. Overhauling the art itself and adding in some new spells to work with, and a Necronomicon as well. Tavern Games, this is the mini version, a lot smaller than the other ones. Basically it's like the old Witcher games where you have card games, dice games, and all sorts of shit that you can do, including lottery tickets. Taverns become much more enjoyable places as you can have a few drinks, and gamble your money away. Or make somebody else gamble theirs. Fun little passive way to make some money or get fucked out of it. Because, dear God, those NPCs are something else when it comes to the game. Like, I don't know what it is, but they will beat your ass a new one in those games. Let's see here. UNP Rough Linen. This is for the underwear types in Skyrim. It's for the female body mainly. This is a darker set hide look, replacing the nasty vanilla look. I've also got one for males, but this is just in general because I don't like the way the vanilla underwear looks at all. Looks like really bad cut linen or like a really crude made fur. And there are so many tailors in Skyrim, you'd think they'd make better, clothes in general. So this is just a simple mod to add in and patch up something that was really outdated and needed it, in my opinion. More Draconic Dragon aspect. This is the blood red version. It's a personal favorite. There are all sorts of colors and different versions of this mod, so it's really up to you, but this is for my vampire character because I always find myself playing vampires. So moving on from that. Gemline Queen Jewelry, adding in at least 2k textures to all the jewelry of Skyrim, making you really want to wear it more often, or when you see it, it's a bit more of an eye-catcher. You know, looking like actual crowns and rings and gems are encrusted into them. Hoods with hairs, very simple mod, but for those of you playing female characters, or even male characters with long hair, this is probably a mod that you've been looking for a while. Dwarven Colossus, adding in something terrifying to every Dwarven ruin, or certain ones. I don't know if it's all of them yet. It's been a while since I've been in one. Try to avoid them like the plague sometimes, not even because of this guy, but just because, it's like a bad history lesson walking through one of them. Boring. But, the Dwarven Colossus will beat your ass. Like, he is a big boss. It's just meant to be like the most Dark Souls thing you can go up against in terms of a Dwarven automatron. This guy is meant to be the reason you don't want to go into Dwarven ruins, without a doubt. And it's only for 6 megabytes, really fun boss fight, new creature. I had to. The Dwarven ruins are so boring that it needed something to spice it up. Imperious races of Skyrim, making each race different from each other. No longer all your stats just going to be 100. You're now going to have different powers, different carry weights, different attributes in general. It's just going to be a much more interesting time no matter what race you pick. And they're all going to have their own unique thing that they're good at. Mind you, Skyrim is still Skyrim, and you can eventually get past that, but even then, your choice of race will still be affecting you all the way up to that point. As every power and natural effect to your character's passive perks are different now. The Helios Protector is another dialogue overhaul mod. It is very interesting. It also adds in different outfits. You can actually ask NPCs to put on different outfits as well if you're bored of seeing people in the same old damn clothes. It's a nice mod. I enjoy the dialogue options that come from it too. And also being able to tell people to dress differently is pretty cool. That way you don't see like 5 NPCs wearing the same damn thing. And then we have Fendrix Magic Evolved. This mod adds in so many damn spells that I couldn't even begin to go over them. But this is, oh yeah, here we go, 170 plus new spells to the game for 6 megabytes. I think that's enough said. But either way, you get Alteration, Illusion, Destruction. All of the schools of magic now have a multitude of spells to choose from. Huge ass list. Mattresses for Dwemer beds. Because ow, my aching back. This is just something for all those stone beds that you see in Markarth and in Dwemer Ruins in general. Because nobody wants to sleep on a stone fucking bed, you're crazy. Dapper Deliveries, a courier overhaul. This is a must-have for any courier, and anyone who enjoys seeing the courier run about and deliver your mail. Makes it look like he actually travels around Skyrim and doesn't just appear out of thin air. That's one of the major things I like about this, but the next is that he gets a little bit more dialogue options, and there are more couriers around the world than just the one courier. So it's definitely a must-have mod for immersion. Odd man. It seems this one got deleted. Well, I don't think you'll be finding that one, guys, but Darker Brotherhood was basically an overhaul to the Brotherhood faction in general, and it was a very cool story overhaul. I'll have to see if they eventually add in a new one or add it back, but for now this mod is deleted. That is a shame. Immersive Citizens AI. This will make them look like they actually have things to do. They'll go sit around outside the city, go on walks to nearby villages. They'll just, in general, be more lively and do their own thing. Talking to them will also be pretty nice, or just hearing their random conversations by earshot will be even more interesting now. You'll feel like you're in a much more lively world with that mod installed, and with this one, immersive projectiles, even a normal bandit can be the biggest threat of your fucking life. From oil pots to smoke bombs to actual grenades, and no, not hand grenades, I mean wick bombs. Light a wick and throw it at a motherfucker, because dear God, these bombs are deadly. If you're a vampire and you get hit by an oil pot, you better hope you got those butterflies I was talking about earlier, because, ooh, your ass is grass. You are ash on the floor in an instant. It's death. Like, you've got to play much more tactical. The spears, the knives, the axes, they're all fun weapons. I like the axes for stagger. I also give a lot of spears to my men, and spears can be very useful weapons against you, not the enemy. They're more for staggering. But either way, with this mod installed, even the most common thief can be a menace. Lord's Mail with sleeves, overhauling one of the Creation Club armors. This is for those who have it. If you don't worry about it. Making the whole suit black and gold, and giving it a much more Roman design while also being protective in a cold, harsh environment. Next up is the Berserker armor from, well, you guessed it, the series Berserk. This is Guts' armor, and this was another part of the playthrough I was talking about, another personal choice for myself in my playthrough, something you can or cannot download if you want to. Next mod up is Lawless Light, a nearly 5 megabyte mod that overhauls the bandits of Skyrim, adding in completely new bandit classes, much like the real armies for the Civil War. It also does a little bit to dialogue, but it's mostly just for the classes in the bandit faction in general, making a bandit playthrough much... It's definitely enjoyable. Can't say it's much more enjoyable than just ransacking places with your army of bandits, but now you have more classes to choose from. Let's see if we can't find some of them. Damn. Well, for example, there are bandit witch hunters, there's bandit champions, there's battle mages, all sorts of new classes to work with. I enjoy the mod for one, and especially coupled with the immersive projectiles, it becomes quite the pain in the ass to fight off bandits and conquer forts. Pirates wield scurvy cutlasses. This is a funny mod, and there are a lot of pirate NPCs in the game already. You just wouldn't realize it because they look like your normal average bandit. So now you'll at least be able to tell when you're getting hit by a pirate. And you'll also be able to get yourself a scurvy cutlass. Maybe you're playing a pirate yourself. They do have a pirate mod in the Creation Club, and they've got tons of boat mods. I don't blame you one bit if you like a good pirate playthrough. I've done it a few times myself. Either way, very fun mod to have, and just a small touch of immersion to the pirate characters that are already in the game. Abyssal Wind Magic. Now this is just an element I felt was missing from the game in general, because most magic systems have it, and you even see magic like this in the Elder Scrolls, the trailers that we get for ESO, the Elder Scrolls Online. But I was doing a Star Wars playthrough a long time ago, and this was a good substitute for Force powers. But more than that, it's just a good magic mod in general, adding in some crazy ass spells to work with. Alright, here we go. Kitty Hood's Khajiit. This is a hood overhaul for all Khajiit based characters. You'll now actually see their cat ears in the hoods instead of them looking like normal people when they wear hoods. I thought it was just a funny little addition, but it also makes sense because, you know, they have completely different skulls and heads compared to us. You would definitely see their ears poking up in the hood a little bit. I think it's just a fun little mod to have, and it really does add in a small noticeable detail that once again adds into the immersion. So definitely a mod I can't really play without. You know, while it seems a little goofy, it's definitely got its place in my load order. Lore-friendly guns of Skyrim. I love this one. Black powder firearms that it can also have enchanted bullets and all sorts of shit. It really does find its way into the world of Skyrim and Tamriel in general because, one, the Empire already has black powder cannons, artillery, and, you guessed it, guns. It's already something in the lore of the Elder Scrolls universe, whether you want to believe it or not. So getting to see a entire list brought into every crafting category, from iron all the way to Daedric and Dragonbone. It is a must-have mod for anybody looking to just expand their arsenal. Like, if you were wanting to be a witch hunter yourself, this is a great mod to have because you can have a rifle on your back, or if you're playing a pirate, you can carry a fucking flintlock pistol. It's just a great mod to have in general, especially if you're running Conquest of Skyrim, because you can give your ranged units guns instead of shitty crossbows and arrows. Really helps when you're trying to take down a dragon, and it's not really broken either. The dragon will still cleave through you and your men. It just makes for a more impactful battle, and this is coming from somebody who might surprise you. I don't even really like guns myself. I'm more of a sword person or a fist person. I prefer blade and steel any day over a gun. So next up is Talkative Dragon Priests. You know, just something to spice up a boring boss battle. Well, not anymore. Now you actually have an enjoyable fight against somebody who really feels like they embody the personality of the character they're based around instead of just a mindless husk throwing spells at you. Must-have mod. Royal Armories. This is a new and improved version. What this does is all of the royalty in Skyrim now has their own personal weapons, making any of them a harder fight when you go to sack their city with the Conquest of Skyrim mod, or in general making Ulfric and General Tullius, didn't mean to do a pun there, but making those two a much more dangerous battle just because of the weapon they wield. And their second in commands also get new weapons. So no matter which side you go to attack, you'll find yourself at a disadvantage. Their enchanted weapons are actually insane. Next up is the No Vampire Lord form. This allows you to stay in your human form when going into the Vampire Lord state. It's a very cool mod, and I prefer it over the Underworld ripoff we get with the Vampire Lord look, or like an off-brand Molag Bal. Instead, you get your character, you get to levitate up into the air like a fucking badass in your armor, And it's just a funner time than looking like some ugly gray fucking golem. Opulent outfits, Necromancer. This is a must-have robe for any Necromancer playthrough. It also completely overhauls the Necromancer robes, making them look a lot nicer and, you know, different from the black mage robes. In my opinion, the fact that they looked practically the same was shitty, and the robes in general were a lazy design. It was just the same robes as the black robes with a green skull painted on. That's garbage. This is 3 megabytes, and it's way nicer, at least 2K textures. It might be 1K, but trust me, when you look at the armor, you wouldn't think it. It actually looks like real silk. Probably one of the nicest robe mods I've ever seen, and I've used it for so damn long. Aurora Standing Stones. Now this overhauls every standing stone in Skyrim, including the Guardian Stones, new powers, new normal effects. Really badass mod, goes hand in hand with Imperious Races of Skyrim. Cannot play without. Would recommend. And then medieval forts. Every fort in Skyrim that looks bare bone and just like a fallen pile of rubble, no more. This mod retextures those forts to look more medieval, look massive as fuck, have actual gates, and just in general, whenever you see one, you're gonna be stuck there for a second in awe looking at them, and only for 2 megabytes. Now the reason it's small is because from far away you will see the normal vanilla fort. As you get closer, it starts to fade back into reality what these forts look like. So it's kind of a bit of a mirage effect when you get up close. From far away it looks like the normal vanilla forts, and then you finally start to see it as the medieval fort comes into view. It's very interesting. A little funny at times. The notice board for any mercenary, bounty hunter, anyone in Skyrim looking for the odd job and doesn't want to go talk to the innkeeper. This one's for you. A little extra money in your pocket. Pick up all sorts of quests from right there, and even learn about stories of NPCs and just other shit in general. Help you find quests a little faster, and even have a few quests of its own to give you. Vampire lines, overhauling all the dialogue lines of vampires in Skyrim. No more 5 to 10 lines of the same garbage. Now you'll actually hear a vampire with personality and feel like you're really being chased down by an undead creature of the night. And if you yourself are a vampire, well, they'll have a few things to say to you too. Ori/Kaiden banter. Much like the last one you guys saw further up the list, it's so she can talk to Kaiden and make sure there are no mishaps. Another must-have mod if you plan on getting all those companion mods. Like I said, it's a do or don't. You really don't have to. It's just up to you. Personal touches after all. This next one is Mythical Ages weather preset. This is not just a weather overhaul, but a lighting overhaul. Basically an E and B, which we really don't have on Xbox. This is like the only one that actually changes the color effect of your screen and the colors in general of Skyrim. It is without a doubt my personal favorite weather mod. Love it to death. And it's so small, but look at all the shit it does right there. It literally gives shaders similar to E and B for classic Skyrim. Oh my, yep. It's just, it's more than a must-have mod. It's like a core component to this load order and just in general lighting of Skyrim. You'll never find a better exterior lighting mod than this. Or coloring mod, because this mod does an amazing job of the colors with the presets given to you. I prefer the fantasy preset myself for a more colorful and vibrant experience. Maybe you like it a bit more grim and dark. It's all up to you. Coin pouch retexture, black. This turns all the coin pouches into a black leather. It is or maybe a black cloth, I can never tell with this damn thing. Looks like it's made from some sort of hide or leather though. Either way, looks a lot nicer to bring out of your pouch and to pick up off of a table. And you'll even be holding a black coin pouch whenever you use the GDB mod. So whenever you're taking coins out and talking to merchants, it does that too. I had forgotten to mention, whenever you talk to merchants and shop, you'll actually bring out your coin pouch and take out a few gold coins. It's really cool. Heartbreaker, a kill move mod. This one, whenever you get a NPC to kneel on the ground and they're low on health, you can click A on them while they're in that position, and as a vampire you'd be able to force feed, or in this case, you'll be able to rip their heart out of their chest. You literally grab them up, and you, Vlad the Impaler style, shove your hand right in there and grab that son of a bitch out. It is a brutal mod and adds in a touch of gore needed to Skyrim, in my opinion. Very fun kill move mod that just keeps combat flowing. Must have. And then Violin's a kill move mod. They go hand in hand with each other. Violins adds in a whole new list of kill moves to work with. You'll be going through combat like it's nothing. Or you'll be stuck there fighting for ages until you finally get that special kill move. Till you finally get that cinematic that saves you the rest of the trouble. And this one has an array of them, like huge amount. It's got a list of kill moves for every weapon type. That's my favorite part about it, honestly. True Lords of Oblivion, overhauling all of their artifacts, making it more viable and usable throughout the game, all the way to end game. Big leap 3 times jump. This mod is one of my personal touches because I like mountain climbing in Skyrim, and unfortunately we have no real climbing mods. And for those of you who might play a vampire character like me, it just makes more sense that a supernatural creature could jump higher than the average human. It's not a big boost either. I still find that there are places that are hard for me to get to, but it definitely helps with mountain climbing and getting around in general. You definitely feel more like the Dragonborn with this mod installed. It's just a personal touch that you really don't have to download. It's up to you. Weapon Trails. This is a fun little mod. Adding in a unique effect by every weapon you swing. You'll see a white trail following behind it, almost like an anime show, cartoon, or, you know, like a lot of fantasy games do nowadays. It just helps you keep track of your weapon and the enemies, but it makes combat a little bit more exhilarating and pretty, you know, like it's a real sword battle from an anime or movie you've seen. Makes any battle a lot more entertaining. Here's a good one. Dovahkiin can sit, lean, and sleep anywhere. This is a personal favorite. It's only 800 kilobytes, and it's basically going to allow you to interact with anything and everything the way the NPCs do. So if you ever see somebody kneel in front of a shrine and you yourself wanted to do that, you can now. If you ever seen somebody sit down on a log, well, if the marker is there, you can now. It's a very fun mod. And the Actions I Need mod allows you to sit anywhere too, with a prompt in the power options. It'll give you a power and give you a list of options to run through, and sitting down is indeed one of them. You can also refill your flask and clean it up at a campfire later. 360-degree walk and run. If you want to move like people do on PC, although unfortunately we don't have anything for the camera like that yet, this is the mod for you, allowing you to fully turn around in third person and have full range of motion except when your weapon's equipped. The only time you don't is when the weapon is equipped, but whenever you put it away, you can run circles like an idiot all day. And believe me, I've done it to myself quite a few times. It's just funny watching your character spin around like that. Let's see if I get this right. Paraphernalia, realistic magic lighting. This is another mod that touches up on the effects of all magic, making sure the lights look very much real, and well, I guess it It adds in a bit of a pop to the magic whenever you see it. The effects feel like raw power, real elements coming out of your hands, like you actually are casting fire out of your fingertips and you're actually shocking someone to death with lightning. Next up is Hearthfire Multiple Adoptions. For those of you who want to adopt more than just 2 kids in Skyrim, this is for you, because much like the rest of you, I know exactly how heart-wrenching it is to only be able to choose 2 out of all the kids that actually have really sad backstories and are worth picking up. So this is a really nice mod, adding in multiple beds for certain homes and just in general allowing you to adopt multiple kids. Vibrant Weapons Light, another effect overhaul for certain weapon enchantments, making weapons really come to life when they have a, say, flame enchantment, lightning, you name it. You can really see the element coming off of them. It's so badass. Next up is Vampire Knights, adding in a whole new faction to the vampire faction. You could call this a subclass of vampires. They're all armored and well armed and are very fun battles, to be honest. They'll kick your ass early on, but once you get to like a, I'd say close to level 20, you'll be kicking their ass all the same. Very interesting battles, and definitely NPCs you'd probably want in your army if you could get a hold of one. I like having them around. It makes the vampires feel more like a threat in Skyrim. And it actually makes more sense when Durak always goes talking about, oh my god. I can't with the NPCs from the Dawn Guard. Especially the orc that always comes walking up, asking you to join. At least now it'll make more sense why. Really cool touch of immersion, just a really interesting battle in general. Adds in more armor and weapons for the vampires. Just giving the vampires more of an edge, because they really didn't have much going for them in vanilla. Here we go, JK's Morthal. Much like the Whiterun mod, this is probably one of my favorite overhaul mods for this village in particular. Taking the exterior and interiors very seriously, they overhauled everything, making Morthal look less like a shitty village in a swamp and more like a thriving community in the middle of a hellhole. Sort of like how the crater of Adam in Fallout 4 is. It's a pretty decent place inside the hellstorm of the glowing sea. This place looks beautiful in the marshlands of Morthal. Like, the actual city itself is a sight to see. You'll find yourself spending even a little bit of time here now. Talkative dragons. Much like the talkative dragon priest, it does something that was really needed in my opinion. You get talked to by a few dragons in Skyrim, but not many words are said. You know, you don't get to hear much other than that dragon at the start of vanilla Skyrim and a few other named dragons. Nope, not anymore. Every dragon will be talking shit to you the whole time they're fighting. It is a very fun mod. Dragons will feel like a very real and dangerous threat, and it's a must-have for anyone looking for that immersive playthrough. The pirates who don't do anything, some NPCs outside of Solitude that are pirates and have ships of their own, you can eventually get as companions. It's a funny little mod. Takes some NPCs that literally don't do anything and actually turns them around into something worth talking to and, well, having in a playthrough. Next up is Run for Your Lives, a big immersion mod in my opinion. Instead of chickens, cows, goats, and every NPC and their mama coming out of the city to fight a dragon with you, they'll now stay indoors and run the fuck away whenever the city's under attack. So that alone should already tell you this is a must-have mod if you prefer, you know, fighting alone and not getting a bounty of 1,000 because, oh, I accidentally killed this chicken trying to fight the dragon with me. Yeah, that's the last thing any of you want, I'm sure. Another great mod for the undead is Better Dead Thralls, allowing you to give them armor, commands, and treat them like companions whenever they're around. Character creation overhaul. So this character creation overhaul gives you a more D&D-like vibe. You get to pick from classes, you get to set up your birthstone, so you get to choose a standing stone from the very start of the game. And in general, it even lets you go back and choose a different race if you decided just like last second you don't want to be a certain race. So must-have mod for me in my opinion. Very fun. The classes give you preset skills and attributes, and well, it doesn't give you skills, more or less skill levels, and you'll be lower on certain skills than other trees. So have fun with that. Picking a class really does matter. You can make your own custom class. That's a bit harder though. Royal Bloodlines. This mod is, let's see here, add another level of epicness to the Vampire Lord, empowering it for higher difficulties. Okay, so this is Royal Bloodlines Vampire Lord. Perk overhaul, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is the perk overhaul. So this is going to take your skills, your perks, and the overall race of the Vampire Lord, completely change it on its head, make it stronger. Because when you're like level 40 to 50, the Vampire Lord form becomes a joke. It just gets outdated. It doesn't have the armor rating it needs. Instead, the great mod authors of Skyrim took it upon themselves to, fix most of Bethesda's mistakes when it comes to shit like this. And have actually leveled out the form, making it viable throughout the entire game. So that, like many other mods for the vampires, are a must-have if you want a really immersive playthrough and actually get the feeling of being a vampire lord. Because Harkin's Vampire Lord state and yours are clearly different. It's ridiculous what that motherfucker gets. My favorite mod, True Currency Overhaul, adding in bronze and silver and gold septums. Instead of there just being gold in Skyrim, because yep, there's definitely just millions of pounds of gold lying around in the form of coins. Fuck no, there isn't. You now have bronze, silver, and gold. Bronze is worth 1 coin, silver is worth 10 coins, and gold is worth 100 coins. The currency is now based around bronze, and it is a badass mod. Any normal fantasy has this type of currency setting, where there's at least 3 or more different types of coins to be used, and I think it's just a really nice mod to have. It also just helps with immersion in general, because there's no way there's going to be that much gold around Skyrim. No wonder the elves went in. I'd want some of that gold too, honestly. Here we go, Rorikstead Basalt Cliffs, making the mountains around, well, not really mountains, but the tall hills around Rorikstead a lot prettier. Anywhere you go in Skyrim should look like a marvel in its own right, and this is no difference. Rorikstead is no exception to that, as in lore they had very pretty basalt cliffs, but in game you don't get to see any of that. It was meant to be a place of greenery and nature in general, because of the Daedric worship going on there with a certain leader and just a person keeping the crops good in general. But either way, it's a very interesting place, and I'd rather it live up to lore than not live up to expectations. I think it's a beautiful mod and really adds a nice little touch up to the Plains of Whiterun and the village of Rorikstead, as Whiterun is supposed to be the best hold in all 9 holds, and that's not even a boast, it's literal truth and lore. Here we go. I talked about it earlier, and here we are, the male underwear replacer, giving you a more boxer brief kind of look, all while maintaining the medieval design of, a rough linen with a normal belt for a wrap. It's a lot nicer than the fucking male diaper they put you in. Like, that's just the best way to put it. Level 1 loot adder. Any mod that adds in custom weapons or shit, it'll be from level 1 in the get-go. No leveled list bullshit, because let's be honest, your level should not affect what you're seeing in the world around you. And I'll always gripe on people who complained about bandits wearing ebony armor. Get over yourselves. It's called a difficulty tweak. Get used to it. Bandit chiefs wearing ebony armor, even normal bandits wearing it, that's fine by me. Literally just means they're well-off bandits, because not every bandit's going to be in that ebony armor. There's still a loot list for the equipment, and this mod is no different. You're not going to find every bandit using bombs, throwables, and whatever they can find. No, it'll just be certain ones that got lucky and got it placed in their inventory. But that is a framework mod that helps just about any mod you can install from, well, here's the weapon list right here. They've got all sorts of shit. It's an older mod and it covers mostly older mods, but those older mods are still very popular and used today, so I think it does its job pretty well. All armor lootable and equipable. So this is, or well, I think it's all armor lootable and wearable. But this allows you to get all the armor sets that you've ever wanted off of bandits, Forsworn, Draugr, Daedra. Basically, anytime you saw them in a full set of armor or had equipment that they didn't show in their inventory, you'll get it now. It was always a personal gripe of mine not getting the full reward from the kill that was in front of me. Especially when they happen to be decked out in like full fucking armor. Here's the patch for Vile Art of Necromancy, something that you need for that mod if you want it to work. This will just fix a few spells and other things. It's nothing too huge. Next up, Runic Magic Armor. This is for the flesh. I might get the armor version, I'm not sure. But this basically adds in Old Nordic runes to the flesh spells of Skyrim, making them look less like lights and actually making them look more like a real viable spell. Like you've actually got arcane power flowing around you instead of just a funny little light that that disappears after 1 to 2 hits. This is much better in my opinion. I'm probably going to switch it out for the armor version eventually. It's really just personal preference if you want it on your armor or on your person. Okay, here we go. Hunter's Cabin of Riverwood, probably my personal favorite house mod. Very small, but a very nice house to walk into, and it's at the starting village. I enjoy my time at Riverwood, honestly. It's a very pretty place, very serene and disconnected from a lot of the places in Skyrim, and it's also one of the first places you go to, so just a lot of reasons to like it. Good place for money and companions as well. Weightless crafting items, because nobody wants to haul around 1,000,000 pounds of goddamn iron and have to constantly micromanage. That one's self-explanatory. Not very immersive, but you'll be thanking me later when you aren't carrying 2,000 pounds of glass. Anywho, useful map markers. This'll make extra map markers appear for places like Breeze Home, the Companions Guild, you name it. Just extra markers that should have been there in the first place. Here we go. Another one for exploration if you don't want to use the quest journal and all that, or if you're just trying to find a spot and you don't remember where the fuck it's at. This makes every map marker visible. That doesn't mean you can just fast travel to it though. You have to go explore and find it. You know, it does what a real map should do. Have locations written on it. Next up is Demon's Path. This is a funny little spell mod that you can go into the Crypt of Whiterun and go and mess with. It has all sorts of shit in the chest, and it's protected by all sorts of skeletons and a mysterious merchant now, so you know, it's definitely a fun little trip going down there and getting these interesting powers, and you can see some of those powers in my past playthroughs and see if you like it for yourself. It's just a mod I cannot play without, and adds in some more interesting powers and spells to have in your game, because in my opinion the magic system of Skyrim is very bare bone and needs a lot added to it. Enhanced NPC perks, making every NPC a threat and danger as you progress through the game. They'll have access to more perks and abilities as you level up. So have fun. And the best part is a new game is not needed for this mod to take effect. So here we go. Illinata, or Illinalta, realistic water transparency. This is a small overhaul to the water because I don't have any water mods myself. This makes it a lot clearer and visible when looking through water because this is the past, not the present. Water would not be so murky and diluted and just dirty in general. No, these are crystal clear waters and lakes and beautiful places where nature is vibrant everywhere. Freezing ice oceans, it would not be as murky as it is. It would be very clear, and it also does a decent job making the water look extremely pretty. So if you're a huge graphic nut like I am and love a pretty looking Skyrim, this is a mod for you for very small amount of storage. Next up is the guard's armor overhaul. You guys can get whatever guard armor overhaul you want. I just think this one's really nice, adding in a diversified look to all the guards of Skyrim. Everyone having their own armor design for their own hold. It's really cool. Little low budget, you know, not the best looking armors, but there are a few of them that look so good I just can't get rid of the mod. So with that being said, we'll move on to the next. Here we go. This is a immersive sounds patch. So what this goes to is the immersive sounds compendium and mysticism, a magic overhaul. Vocrinator / mysticism is why I have this mod. Wanted the spells to actually sound proper, and this is the patch for that. Vera's female skeleton, a mod that goes hand in hand with the XP32. This is for all the females so they can use the same animation work, and it just structures the body a bit better. If you decide to get this load order, you'll see what I mean when you boot up the game for yourself. Or maybe by the end of this video. So, perks from questing. Any quest line you do and finally complete will give you a special perk that stays there permanently. It's basically an attribute booster. Depending on the quest line, it will give you a status effect based on what the quest was about. It definitely has a roleplay ability to it, and it makes you feel like you're actually getting something in return for even useless side quests. A mod I cannot play without, and because of its size, I never play without it. And it's always installed. Get Ancient Elven Ivory Armor. It's based off of the Falmer armor, but it's a, in my opinion, it's what the Elven armor should look like. This is a standalone, though. It's definitely meant for more of a paladin playthrough, but it's a very beautiful armor set for a very small amount. Somebody definitely did their work with this one. Like, they went above and beyond for this armor set. It's very nice. More Daedric Shrines, just to add in even more that Pilgrim doesn't cover. Instead of like tiny shrines added by the Pilgrim mod, you get these huge ass monument shrines that are added around the world, and I just really love the touch of immersion it adds. Lunar Fury. This is for any werewolf player. Instead of having to go through the companion's questline every damn time, you can now lay in a bed under the, basically it's meant for the camping mod. If you're camping and you see a red harvest moon, go to sleep. You'll get a special visit from Hercene, and he'll ask you to partake in the beast blood. You can either run away or accept the gift. It also just overhauls the werewolf system in general. You will definitely enjoy having this mod around. Blood and Alchemy, a vampire mod. This one is meant for vampires, and it's meant to have easier access to like potions of blood and just other vampiric things in general. I find this to be a very fun mod to have, and it just it adds in a touch of immersion to the vampire playthrough. You find all those potions of blood around Harkin's castle, but you never find the person who makes them. I think this is a great addition to the list of mods to have. Food and hunt overhaul. Finding more on animal carcasses after killing them. You'll get more meat, hide, and general animal parts. The food and drink of Skyrim is now completely overhauled to give passive effects that are actually worthwhile instead of just a little bit of, health or stamina back. It now has a long-lasting effect like a potion, making food, even as a vampire, viable. Amazing follower tweaks. This is a add-on for friendly spell damage. Policious Poison Block does what it says. You can block just about any poison that comes your way if you're lucky. It's mainly to deal with frostbite venom spiders. I fucking hate those little bastards. They will insta-kill you in my playthrough. More Blood and Gore does exactly what it says. Makes the land of Skyrim a bit more bloody, and if you've got injuries on via the Elden Beast mod, well, you're going to experience real injuries and gore like no other. Don't play this around the family, folks. It can get very, very brutal. Quests award perk points as well, so when you complete a quest line, you'll actually get a perk point. And these are the certain quests that do it, not all of them, but a good amount of them. So, better gold. Whenever you do certain quests, you'll now actually get a better payout for killing that type. Dragons, 1200 gold, for example. Giants, 700. Forsworn, 350, and a bandit boss is also 350. But you can also see the original prices right there. Wear multiple rings. Does exactly what it says. Instead of being stuck to a single ring, you can now have a multitude of them. You just can't wear two of the same type, so there's your limit. Realistic wildlife, allowing for you to walk past animals without instantly being attacked. They'll be more of a territorial predators rather than I'm going to jump at this big dude in steel black armor with red glowing lines coming out of it. Yep, definitely what an animal would do. No, instead they'll actually give you some time to mosey your way on out of their face. Battle wards. These are wards you can buy from mages, and they're meant to be like shields during combat. You can put them on your weapons as a spell, and it'll stay there while you're using your weapon instead of just having to focus a hand out on a ward that drains up all your magic. Dynamic camera. It gives you an over-the-shoulder camera view, and it just, modernizes the game and viewpoint. You can customize the camera as you see fit, including the FOV slider. I recommend turning off sensible interface when messing with the FOV, as whenever I try to click the B button to actually make the FOV kick in, and it takes you going into your inventory to make it pop up and work. It just does not work when the sensible interface is on, so you gotta disable the sensible interface, then re-enable it after you set up your FOV for this, but I'm more than okay with the FOV given. Skyrim's FOV isn't too bad, being set to I think an 80. Dynamic camera just, in general, helps out with the shitty camera view. You'll bank your shots with a bow. For one, it'll be over the shoulder in whatever view you chose. Melee combat will feel nice and a little bit fresher from a new angle. And in general, when walking around, you'll also have the choice of making it over your head, over your shoulder, a bit further back, closer. It can be as cinematic as a movie sometimes. Queen of the Damned, Serana. This is a overhaul not for her dialogue, but for her stats, making her a stronger, much more viable companion. The mod series Big, more kill moves and decapitations. That's what this one is. Adding in exactly what it says it does. It's just like Violins, a kill move mod. Must have, in my opinion. Keeps combat flowing. dirt cheap magic, so that way at the starting levels you're not just blowing through your mana pool because you held a spell for 5 seconds. Now it's more like 10, maybe 20 seconds. Spooning dominant allows for you to lay in a bed and not go to sleep instantly. And when you wake up, your character will actually be holding on to their spouse, just more immersion add-ons. Amulets of the Nine, this overhauls all the amulets to the game, the religious ones I mean, giving them their own personal enchantments and unique effects that are very badass and a must-have for any playthrough. Especially if you want more religion in the game, like just to be a more physical thing that's a part of the game and playthroughs. Blood Skull Blade and Dawnbreaker overhaul, really badass retexture mod. I don't need to say too much. It's a 2-in-1 bundle and it's must-have playthrough. Like honestly, the Blood Skull Blade is cool, but it's a little low grade compared to what it can look like. And Dawnbreaker always needs a retexture. Very beautiful work of art, these two mods. True Vampire Lord, another stat increaser, but this one works on the actual level variance and just melee damage and a few other resistances. Definitely a necessary one to go along with the others. The best part is they don't really conflict either from what I've noticed. Vampire Lords keep armor, just like the no Vampire Lord change. This mod goes hand in hand with the previous. This is what allows you to actually keep your outfit on. So not much needs to be said about it other than it's a requirement. Skills increase stats ESP. So another mod that got deleted but was a must-have. I'll have to see if they ever bring that one back. Visible favorited gear, allowing you to see all the gear that you favorited, from bows on your back to swords at your side, axes, pickaxes, you name it. It just really helps for the immersive feel of you're an adventurer. You have a lot of tools to work with. You're not just carrying one weapon on your back at all times, you're carrying all of your equipment on you at all times. Realistic conversations. NPCs will actually stop and stay a while when talking to you. It'll also make it seem like whenever you're talking to them, it's the first time all over again. 20% more perk points, making it just a little bit easier to get perk points in the game, because these perk trees that you're going to be working with are fucking enormous, and you'll definitely want the added bonus. Dynamic Combat is a framework mod for the Elden Beast mod, and also adds in a comboing system. Whenever you click right trigger, you can also click and hold X while moving forward to perform a combo in the middle of your swings. Just a necessary mod, and a fun one in general. I seem to have a patch for the Runic Mage armor and weapons. Yep. This is a patch. It's for the Immersive Sound Compendium, so that way it plays its sounds instead of vanilla sounds. Wondrous Wards overhaul the way the wards look and work, making them stronger and nicer, and making them drain less magic. Rich Merchants of Skyrim makes every merchant in Skyrim a rich bastard with at least 10k in their pocket, so they can actually buy stuff from you. Amazing Follower Tweaks. This is the mod that had gotten brought up earlier. So this mod overhauls companions in the way that you manage their inventories, the way they fight, the gear they wear. You can make them dance, do all sorts of shit, and allows for you to have multiple followers at a time. You can have up to 5 followers at a time with this, and it gives AI improvements for them too, making them smarter. And then this is the Royal Bloodlines patch. It requires better vampires, Royal Bloodlines, and this patch. Agonistic Combat is the overhaul to my combat system that makes it painful, as the title says. It is something that you're going to hate and love. and you will find that no matter how overpowered you try to make yourself, this game will stomp you in the balls and then kick you again. It is quite the mod for any sadist or masochist looking for that crazy Dark Souls styled playthrough, and it will definitely make you feel like you're in a hellhole of a world. Flame Atronachs will feel like the menaces they should have been. Ice Atronachs are these fucking impenetrable golems that you need to run from rather than fight, because good luck your ass ain't getting them, they're getting you. Gigantic creatures like giants are going to be doing more than sending you to the moon. You're going to be wishing that you just got thrown in a cell and locked away with how much they're going to be brutalizing you. The Parthenax Dilemma. A must-have mod for anyone that hates having to kill Parthenax. You can tell that bitch Delphine to fuck off, and you can say you're the boss and not her. The Dragonborn leads the blades, not you. Honestly, I'm sure a lot of you have been wanting to say those words for a long time, and this is just a great mod for being able to talk your way out of a certain quest that nobody likes. Sekiro Combat S. The S version is for the player, but Sekiro Combat basically adds in sparks every time you deflect, block, or hit a person's sword while they're blocking. But instead of it being everyone who gets this effect, it's now just set to you, so you'll only see sparks fly around you, and it'll be a lot more performance friendly to your system. A must-have mod to enhance combat in general, and even arrows will get the spark effect, so anybody, and oh yeah, magic also does it too, literally anyone can benefit from having this mod. Elven ears for NPCs and the player. Have you ever wondered why Bretons don't have elven ears, or why wood elves really don't have pointy ears that are noticeable? Well, this mod is for you, adding in elven ears to all the NPCs who are missing them. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the load order. While 2 of the mods were unfortunately deleted, the rest are very much up and available and don't require those 2 mods to actually still run as a playthrough. So if you enjoyed your time here, I hope you found a mod or 2 for you, or maybe the entire load order. Either way, this is where most of you can leave off on the video if you want to, or go back and pause and relook through the mods. Here's a tip, by the way. I've noticed through all my videos, when you pause it, you can skip about 10 seconds each time, and it'll go down each row of mods. So if you don't want to hear me ramble, you can do that to make things a little faster on yourself. But with that out of the way, I'm actually going to do what I said earlier, and I'm going to start us up a new playthrough, and I'm going to show you just what the start of the game is going to be like. I'm not going to do one of the traditional starts, but I am going to show you the technicalities of the mods and how to work with them, because some of you might find yourselves confused at first. So this is for anybody wanting to do the full playthrough. We'll just go through real quick. Not really focus too much on this guy. Maybe do his eye color a little bit. Let's see here. Eye shape, why don't we go for that? Give him a mellowed out look like he doesn't really want to be here. There we go. What about nose? Can we fix his nose? I think that'd be pretty funny on its own. Yeah, here we go. Nose type. There we go, fixed him up a little bit. And for those of you who might have wanted to see the hairs, here's a few of them at the back. Not too many, but this is just for the Nord, mind you. This is my favorite hairstyle personally. You could be just about anybody with this hairstyle. Pirate, some wanderer, or even with my current playthrough in Skyrim is for the boys, a king. A a wandering king. Very fun playthroughs, honestly. More like a warrior king, to be honest. And here's Kaiden's hairstyle. His mod comes with a free hairstyle to have. I'll just pick something random out of the list of them. Yeah, why not? Alright, and test character. Back out of that, you can see everything installing over to the left. Would you like to choose a class and birth sign for this character? Yes. Continue instead of change race. So this is where you get to choose from your signs, and it used to be I would always choose the shadow stone, but nowadays I prefer the, well, here, hold on, lord stone. Ignore what it says in the base description because that's the literal vanilla description of all of them. You'll basically be choosing at random for your first time if you don't know what you want. Me, I know what all of these stones do for their powers and effects, so I know what I want. And then here are the main 3 classes to choose from, but there are subclasses in each main class, and then there's the custom classes that you can make, which is just choosing out stats. It's pretty boring. I prefer going for one of these, and my personal favorite is Sorcerer, giving you a boost to heavy armor, alteration, conjuration, destruction, enchanting, and restoration. But all your other skills are going to be sorely lacking. It still is probably my favorite start though. And this is what I mean by modesty. Your character's going to be covering up. Let's see here. Do a quick little save. One thing I've always noticed with mods is they break when they want to, not even when they're broken. Sometimes the game just wants to fuck with you. You'll notice right now I can't really zoom in very close to my character. So we're going to go over that right now with powers. Well, I'll actually go over it in the order that I usually do. So we'll start with the ultimate dodge mod configurator. And this is just how much stamina drain, invincibility you want. So dodge roll settings, I usually decrease it by a little bit. We're going to bring it down to a 15. And we might also bring the sidestep settings down a notch, but I'm pretty sure it's set to 10. So I might also just leave that as it is, but I usually put a minus on it for 5 because you're just stepping to the side. It really doesn't require that much stamina to move sideways. Let's see here. The next one coming up is Wildcat. This is the big one. So dynamic combat, you don't want to disable that. I usually disable the stamina drain for these, but you can keep them if you want. You'll just be out of stamina all the damn time though. Disable held your stamina cost for bows. You can disable this one, but when you activate another one later on it won't even matter because it'll still drain stamina for whatever reason. Disable the health based regeneration. I keep this on. I keep this off because this is a pain in the ass. You're gonna be slow walking like you're over encumbered all the time. This is a yes or no. This is more personal preference. I prefer to disable it. Swimming in armor, it makes sense to have the disable. It makes sense to have it not disabled when you're swimming in armor and shit. Like in general, it just makes more sense for immersion, but I prefer a funner playthrough. You can activate full body stagger and get knocked around, but I, just because it seems a bit more experimental, prefer to have it off. Disable injuries. This is a yes for me, simply because it gets harder to fight as you go through it. The injury system is pretty cool at times, but ugh. Here we go, disable bow interrupts. Putting this as no turns the stamina drain right back on. Disable the timed block, that's a no. Disable attacks of opportunity, don't. Disable the backstab, no. Disable health based, no. No. But this you do disable because it just makes you take more damage for doing a little bit more damage. And keep default. Makes things a little bit harder on you though, as you won't be having a big amount of damage from the start. So that was like one of the main things that you gotta work with. Next up, think the conditional idols. Player animations, yeah, here we go, modesty, I turned that off because I don't like seeing my character walk around like that. And you can pretty much set up everyone else's animations as you want. Let's see here, shield cover, injured, fatigued, headache, stretch, drunk, okay. NPC animations. On. Alright. You can also set the percentage for how many people you want to have elven ears. I just leave it base. Here we go, Elden Beast. From here you can choose what you want on and off. Nothing too bad to mess with there. Go to Babylon, and then these are some of the moves I was talking about. Okay, here we go, immersive interactions. There's an unstuck me with this. Animations. Let's see, your player interactions. Pick up items. Oh yeah, that shit gets annoying as fuck. I honestly recommend you turn it off, but it's really up to you if you want to leave it on. Gives you some extra shit if you run into the invisible spot every now and again. They're scattered all over the place though. Here we go. The Mythical Ages preset. And this is what I mean by it's a, it's a color changer. Things are gonna look a little brighter. And sometimes that happens. Blurp. Lights on, lights off. But in general, the game just looks a lot nicer. Here, let me show you one of the animations. It actually looks like he starts putting things on. And then melee combat. Let's see if I load it in properly. Okay. Yeah, no, it's pretty bare bone when you're in the cell, but once you get out of here, you actually get to see what combat's like. And oh yeah, these little stews right here for the travel mod. You can turn off the UI and disable your compass. Next up is this funny book right here. And this is all your kill move stuff. You're gonna go here to customize. You don't want matched or mixed. You want the customize option. And you go through here, you turn on the left attack triggers. I haven't turned on seated kill moves, but I do turn on stagger pulse. Then I go back, and then you go to customize once again. And you're gonna get all these options now. Now what you do here is you go to each one, you go to the disabled, and you click X. That's all you gotta do. It's gonna have you do this for a minute, so you just go through each one, each category, and this is where it starts to get, don't worry about stealth, you just want to worry about single and dual. You go to disabled again, and repeat the process, you go to dual, and repeat the process, and all these little gems are going to go into the enabled inventory of this book. And once you're done with all these categories right here, you can then have access to them, and it's just a matter of save and load and like wait 3 days pretty much. You won't even have to worry about it, it'll do it over time. So next up on the list is probably the more important one, and it's the camera mod. This is how you can zoom in super close, super far. This is going to basically touch up everything. So the first thing you want is centered alignment for the idle. Don't need to worry about the height. Melee alignment, you want it off to the right. You want the zoom to be, I usually leave this as none. Then ranged, set the zoom for none to start. Alignment to the right. And then the actual zoom minimum is, you can either do close or very close. I usually go very close because you can't zoom in all the way unless you're very close. Now maximum I set only too far, and then I click done. You're just gonna click X, and as you can see here the zoom's a little fucked up. So now you bring open the power again, height set to normal. There you go, now you're a bit more above the head and back. You can now also zoom in all the way, and pretty far out, I'd say. As for how close you zoom in with the melee, there we go, it stops about right there. Then 1, 2, and X. Can't dodge right now because once again I'm in the cell. But when you're out of it, you will have full access to your range of motion. Let's see here. There isn't too much else to go over except for... yeah, here we go. Visible favorited gear, and then you're just going to turn that on. Once you're done with everything else, you're pretty much good to go. The only other thing you'll have to worry about is when you get out of this cell is this book, How to Start a Faction, and well, I'll let that be your guys' adventure to go on. You don't need my hand holding for that journey. But anyways, that's pretty much this Skyrim load order video, and with a few tips on how to work the mods afterwards. But I'm One Moon Knight, and I'm signing off. Hope you guys have a wonderful time wherever this video may find you, and bye-bye.